Hi everyone, it's great to be back. Leighton, it's great to back here to have you back on the channel. It's always a pleasure to be in conversation with you and
Yeah,
for
man,
us to
same
do
here.
this, joint live. There's a lot of things to talk about. We schedule it to think about the Atlas meet, but before we do that, you've been a very busy man. Lots of interviews. I've enjoyed watching all of them. Tyler Mason, I thought that conversation was very revealing. Everyone knows your affinity for him. The Walcott interview, I like that a lot too because he gave you loads of insight, the kind of
Oh
athlete
yeah.
I guess you want to interview because he's not going to give you short answers. And today
Yeah,
with
tell me about
yeah,
it.
today with Jareem, I love that too because I learned something which I didn't know about the idea of him and Lance having to figure out the kind of patience with him to do the kind of training necessary, and as usual, the kind of lack of support in Trinidad. But probably my favorite so far, and I'm biased because that's people can find their own favorite, is the Navasky Anderson interview. And what was most revealing to me was the part where you asked him about the potential to run faster. And immediately I looked in his eyes and I saw this kind of glimmer where he didn't really want to give you an answer on the limit because normally athletes have a time, right? They'll tell you a time. But it felt to me like because he had dropped the time from 144 to 143 now to 142, it's as if the targets are evolving, and I kind of love that part of the interview. So
Yeah,
what
I
has
did
been
too,
your big type of takeaway from the athlete so far?
Well, look, one thing, like you, I really enjoyed the Navasky interview. I also enjoyed the Jeremy one I posted today. It was supposed to have been posted from Friday, but we had some connectivity issues that prevented that from happening. But what I like about Navasky, I've always known he was a smart kid, huh? But his insight into how he plans to achieve his goals and the
Mm,
detail that he provided, that was really cool for me. I mean, when he talked about aiming for 143 and he has 143 all over his house, and he wrote 143.23 in the snow, and working with Tom Brumlick, it was really revealing, and it showed you the mentality of the athlete. And so when he finds success, and I know that I didn't say if, when he finds
mm.
success, you'll know exactly how he got there. So we're looking. I'm looking forward to to seeing what he does next season and going into 2027 and forward, because I think, as he said and alluded to, was in the final in Tokyo. He in his mind felt like 141 was possible.
Mm.
I remember he said, I'm going to run 140, I'm going to run 141." So if he's already thinking along those lines and taking into consideration what he said before about getting to 143, you kind of feel like next year is going to be kind of a seminal year for him, where he doesn't have a major championship next year. So he doesn't have to worry about peaking at any particular point of the season. Of course, he's probably going to run Diamond League as well, as he mentioned in the interview as well. But you can see where he and Tom Brumley could probably shape a plan for him to be peaking at 141 or 142 low, certainly by closer to the end of the season, to prep for the World Championships in 2027. So, and of course, obviously, he brings Tyrese Taylor into the dynamic as well, because he says, he likes the idea that both of them are pushing each other to these new standards. So I really like that. And of course, with Jareem, look, I've known Jareem since he was at Alabama. I said Oklahoma in the interview. I
Right.
don't know why, but Jareem has always struck me as somebody who is eternally grounded. And we all aspire, when you're an athlete, you all aspire towards these, dizzying heights where you want to break a record or you want to do something extraordinary. I think for him, just getting the best out of what he's capable of, I think, is what his targets are, which was really cool for me to understand, because everybody wants to break a world record. He just wants to be the best he can be. And wherever that leads him, I think is where he'll be satisfied with. So that was pretty cool for me as well.
No, I like it. I think it was very insightful. And if I had to, selfishly also, if we were to go back to Novaski, I think what he's saying too, and him running that, and Taylor running that this year as well, is important for the 800 meter. I think for the Caribbean and obviously certainly for Jamaica, getting into a final is a massive deal. Hadn't been done in a long time, and it's a space where we've discussed at nauseum that athletes should be really pushing towards the 800 meters. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
yeah, they'll find this as an avenue for them. And there's money in the distances. There's no one,
Yep.
and if you run distances, you can move up as when you get slower, you can even try the marathon. So it's not a, yeah.
Absolutely. And the key thing I found for him, for me, is that he has time. Huh?
Mm,
It's not like he's 29, 30 going on and thinking, okay, I'm finally going to do this. Because I do believe that if he continues to progress, it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility that he could be contending for a medal either in 2027 or 2028. The drop that he had this year from 144.70 to 142 is almost 2 full seconds. I know as you get closer to your ceiling, it becomes harder to drop that kind of time. But if his ceiling is anywhere in the 141 region, you can see him running 141 by 2027. It's not
right.
out of the
No,
realm of
I
possibility.
think so. And you have to run that if you really want to challenge the major
Yep.
athletes for sure. I want to do another kind of big news story before we get into Athlos again, and I guess partially is Athlos. Megan Tapper, one of your favorite athletes too. Word coming out on Friday that she decided to leave Elite Performance and she's heading to Kentucky to train with
Mhm.
Lonnie Green there. What do you make of that move?
First of all, I'm annoyed by that move because here's the thing about it. No, not the move itself.
Right.
She told me about this weeks ago. And
Yeah.
the only reason why I didn't break the story is because she wanted me to keep it quiet. I didn't.
Mm,
I in the middle of the meet, I say, "Keon, drop the story."
yeah.
Yeah, but look, I think Meg has gotten to a point now where she feels like it's time for her to make another big step. She made a big step
Mm,
last season, and I don't know if she's completely. Look, she has tremendous respect for Ronaldo Walcott. All right, based on our conversations over the past couple of years, she respects him highly, and she really believes that he could take her to where she was at now.
right.
But I feel like Meg feels like there is more to get, but she has to make a move geographically to get that step forward from what 1234 to down to where you know the Masais are running 12 to the Grace Starks, of course, the
Right.
Akira Nugent. That's where I think she wants to get to be more consistent. Because I think she's aware that she's 31 years old. She just signed a 4-year deal with Adidas. I think she wants to, because of the timeliness of that move, I think she wants to really impress Adidas in gratitude for signing her at because it's rare
Right.
when your athlete gets signed at 31,
Yeah.
and I think she feels like she owes them something big, something special from her in the next couple of years to justify the the signing, the deal that she signed. So moving to, I mean, Lovey, we know Lovey is a really
Yeah.
great coach. I think he has Masai, he has the world record
Devon
holder Devin
Charlton, right?
Charlton,
Yeah. Hmm.
and the work that he's done with them, and you can see it from their mechanics, you can see it from how
Right.
they execute. I mean, what Masai has done this year alone. I mean, not to mention last year when she became Olympic champion.
Right.
You can see where she feels like she goes there. She's training with these two world class athletes. Devin is a world indoor champion. Those last 5 hurdles obviously are still a problem for her, but certainly working with them, she has the best of both worlds. She has the best of it in the first 5 hurdles, and the best of it outside the world record of the last 5 hurdles.
Mm,
So that she can find a balance working with those two athletes. I think 2020, 2026, 2027 could be significant years for her in terms of what she wants to accomplish. So I think it's a good move. I mean, outside the fact that I'm going to miss her, not seeing her in the
right.
supermarket and being able to call her as frequently as I want to, um, I think it's a good move. I think it's a timely move, and I think if everything goes according to what she plans, I think she'll have a very successful time there.
All right, interesting. All right, so you kind of you answered something that I was gonna ask initially, was if you thought this was something maybe because of the Adidas thing, were they them whether or not they were pushing a move, or she just decided to do it as a way to make sure that she gets the very best out of that. I guess then my second point about this too is always, and I know she's experienced at moving in a sense, is there's always a level of transitioning that you have to do, right? So yeah, Lexington, I like Lexington. I've been there a few times. It's not a bad place. It's a college town. It's a great university town, but it gets cold in there as well, right? And I know she has some experience doing that, but it's certainly a different setup, right? In terms of you wanting, and it's not Miami, it's not Florida, it's not one of those big Jamaican cities too. I don't know if she needs that, but so yeah, I'm worried. I worry about that, but should we be?
I don't think so. Remember, Meg spent several months in Austria
Yeah.
coaching with Unfred, and it was pretty cold there as well. I mean, Austria gets as cold as it gets anywhere.
Yeah.
And she made some improvement while there as well before she came back home to come back to elite performance. So the experience of handling the environment in terms of the physical environment, I think she'll be fine. And I think she probably, look, Meg, one of the things that a lot of people may not recognize about Meg, that she's incredibly smart and she's incredibly deliberate. So I don't think she would have decided on this move without taking into consideration all the factors that could affect her. And I think if she believes, because I know I'm going to say, because we had a conversation about where she could possibly go. And I was saying, you could go to Coleman, who's abroad now. You could, and she was saying, you're not picking coaches for me, right? I was saying, I'm looking out for your best interest. So, clearly she would have taken some time. She and Timothy Spencer and some of our other reps would look at, what would be best for her. And I think, look, Lovey's an experienced coach. You've seen the success that he's had. I mean, it's a good fit. I think she'll be fine, notwithstanding the weather, the environmental conditions. I think she'll be fine.
No, I mean, she's a very smart athlete. Many years ago, had the pleasure to talk to her for something, and yeah, it is. You don't make those decisions if you're not on have everything in order. I want to thank everybody for popping through. I see people on your comments hasn't been going yet, but there's a bunch of people on your channel too. So yeah, make sure you guys get your comments in if you want to ask some questions tonight, and we'll spare some time for that. All right, I guess since we're in the news business and what's going on, before we get to the thing that I really wanted to talk about, let's talk about another athlete. An athlete that is tired of what she's been doing now and figured that she needed a new challenge, and that's Femke Bol. So Femke Bol has now decided, in a very interesting video, and she posted that I kind of like it. It's everybody's doing these teaser things, and you're not quite sure what's going on. Decides that now is the time to move to the 800 meters starting for the 2026 season. Thoughts on that?
Well, look, in one of our previous chats, I said to you that there's a possibility that Sydney might even consider the 800 after a while. Because, and I think it's the same dynamic with Femke. Femke is a two-time world champion. She's won medals indoors. She's world record holder indoors for the 400. She's done everything that I think she possibly. I think she realizes now that challenging Sydney for 50.3 is not going to happen. Yeah. Sydney is not human. I think she recognized that 50.95 for her is where it's going to be. So guess what? Let's take on a new challenge. She has all the attributes. She's fast. She has great endurance, speed and strength endurance, and she has the mentality. She's a warrior in terms of how she approaches the events that she takes on. So in looking for a new challenge, I don't think she'd probably want to step down to a 200 because she does. I don't think she has that speed. But for the 800, certainly, she clearly has the strength already. And she has 49 speed in her legs, possibly even faster. So why not take on the 800? And I'm sure she must have discussed this with her coach for a long time before she
Right.
settled on this, because nobody steps up to the 800 for fun. It's a difficult
Yeah.
event. And I think if we look at what she's able to do over 400, if she can come back in a decent negative split, she can be a 155 hurdle 800 meter runner within a year, if not
Right.
faster. Well, I would say
No,
not
I
faster. That's kind of
yeah.
stretching it a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think between 156 and 155 is something where she thinks she can. She probably puts it down on paper already and said, "This is what I'd be able to do for 400," and with the right kind of program for the next year, I'm looking at the possibility of doing this. So I can run if I can run 156. I'm in a conversation, and
No, you're right.
even though you
Yeah.
have Hunter Bill and company, she feels that she probably has a chance of challenging them for medals as well.
Yeah. No, when I saw it, I gave it some thought. Some people were asking me about it on Friday night too, and uh, if any space you want to go, that's where you want to go. I think she could be competitive over the flat 400, but that space is very tough. There's no guarantee for medals there. You might,
And it got
she may
tough. It
win
got
up.
tough at Tokyo.
Exactly right. So she may end up going and doing a 48.5, and that can't get you on the podium if the other three decide to do what they're doing. And the 800 meters is a tough place to be. We've seen 154 6, 154 9, 154 9 for medals this time. It's not an easy place. And then you add the fact that the likes of Awiro or Sekodiso and others may improve and Duguma comes back. But when you look at Femke and you think about it, what I like about her, and I don't know if you agree on this, is she's very tall. The body type is
6'1".
nice. She'll have to lose I think she'll lose a little bit of the muscle structure just because of the increased amount of running that she'll do. But she has the kind of perfect structure to really do some damage there. So like you, I think a 156 would be an easy target for them in the sense for next year. And maybe she could surprise herself and run faster than that. And then maybe the coming year, but as you get into the World Championships, you definitely have to start pushing the 154. And I think 153, as crazy as that sound, is where athletes are looking towards now, because I think the 800 meter is a space that the world record, I think, will get broken within a few years from now, if not next year.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, I think we're seeing a gradual shift in the 800 where women are getting faster. Um, it was that way with Matola. It was that
Right.
way with uh, why is
I
it? I can't
think
remember her name. No,
the
not
South
I think I'm
African,
talking about, yeah, man. That
yeah,
that just won. Well, she won her case against wherever
yeah,
it's
Casta
last year,
Semenya,
of course,
yeah,
Casa Semenya, right?
hmm
And then after she stepped aside, well, after she was forced aside,
right,
the 800 kind of tapered off and then went back up a little bit to 157s and 156s. But we're seeing now where with Hunter Belvero, you know, of
Hutchinson,
course,
yeah,
Keely, yeah, you're looking at a situation where it's beginning to get to that level again, where the times are coming down again. So if Femke joins those ranks with her speed, and as you mentioned, she's 6'1". She's
yeah,
already very lean. She doesn't carry a lot of bulk.
yeah,
I don't think she probably needs to shave maybe 5 pounds, and which I
yeah,
don't think would cost her that much in terms of power. And she could maintain a lot of that speed. And based on the running that I hear she does, it would not be out of the realm of possibility for her to make an immediate jump into 157 and lower once she starts to compete. So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think it's a real possibility for her to do well within the first year of her running the event.
right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I think I saw Sonia coming on the chance to say hi. There's a couple on yours here. Let me just get you to respond. I think this is Majid said the women's 400 is now the worst event in all of track and field. Now with Femke gone from it, I'm not sure I go that far. I think there's a lot of athletes there. I think if you're saying you want athletes to be running like uh, sub
50
151
points.
or very low 151, there's only two athletes who are doing that. So it's an yeah. I think
Yeah,
Jasmine
look,
Jones this year was good to come on.
made
I
a
think
big
Anna
step forward. Yeah.
Cockrell, yeah, the athlete there that from
Sutherland
Slovakia, Sutherland
and
should come next
Sutherland
year.
from
Yeah,
Canada. Yeah.
hmm
So
yeah,
there's a lot of talent there. And I think once, especially if Sydney doesn't come back to the event, I
yeah,
think it's an opportunity for those athletes who are on the periphery to grab it with both hands and say, look, this is my domain now.
Yeah.
Because two of the best who have ever done it are now trying different things. So
Yeah.
the window is wide open, and I think it's an opportunity for a lot of for the Jamaicans, especially Andrew at Knight
Yeah.
and Cheyenne Salmon as well, to say, okay, it's time for the 53s now to go away. Let's
Right.
try something new. Let's try a new race model. Let's try a new program in terms of getting stronger and getting faster to get down to 52s. I don't know if they can get to 51s because I believe that for you to get to 51s, you must be able to run 49 over 400.
Yeah.
And both of those ladies are still running 52s for the flat four and 53s and 54s. They need to probably work on that as well. So there's opportunities and there's enough talent out there. As you mentioned, Anna Cockrell, you mentioned Jasmine Jones, Sutherland.
Even Gianna Woodruff this year surprised us.
Yeah, Gianna Woodruff ran well as well. So
Yeah.
there's about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 women out there who are capable of making this event even more interesting than before. Why? Because it's not going to be you're not really somebody going to dominate like how Sydney was for the last 5 years. And when she's not there, Femke takes over. Now you have real competition, which I think is what people want to see. They want to see that kind of battle between, a cluster of women battling out for those top 3 places. So I think it probably brings more excitement to the event as well. So
I agree. I mean, I think it's certainly the case. It will be more competitive. Let me just get a couple more before we move on. I think Elaine Hamilton is asking what happened to a thing, and also Colin is saying greetings, gents, about Navaski and Tyrese. I really hope this heralds in a golden age for 800-meter running amongst Jamaican athletes, male and female. I want our athletes to start running the miles. I think we don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think says one thing, but we have to see what happens when the season starts again. Yeah,
I know she was injured for a while.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty obvious. But I'm not quite sure. Honestly, I'm not quite sure where her focus is right now. She was dominant in college when she was at Texas A&M, and since she went pro, but she went to the Olympics and she won. What was it? Our worlds and won medals there.
Yeah, she won at the Olympics in Tokyo. Yeah, as a collegian. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I mean, she recently got married as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes the transition mentally from collegiate level to pro level can be a challenge, and I think, and it's one of those things that I have a concern about sometimes, where athletes sign these professional contracts and suddenly the hunger goes away.
Right.
The aspiration to be the best of the best is kind of, it does the contract does that hunger, that drive for you to go out and succeed, because you already signed a deal. And even if it's a depreciating contract because you're not doing well, of course, the value of the contract goes on from year to year. It probably sets them up to do other things as well. I mean, look at Abby Steiner, who, to be fair to her, she's been injured since 2022 with 3 surgeries, and she announced that she's engaged and she's going back. She wrote recent reasons that she's going back to school again.
Right.
So I don't know if sometimes the transition to the pros sometimes causes some level of distraction and loss of focus. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but sometimes it seems that that's the case, and it seems that that's the case with that.
Yeah, you see, she's had the injuries, and I agree on that. A lot of people talk about maybe the focus isn't there. I don't know. Some people always been pushing for maybe a switch away from Bobby, because Bobby's unconventional. He doesn't have any other 800 athletes, and I always jokingly say if she wanted to go back to a college coach, I think he's across the street in LA now, right? So they're in the same space. But we will see. And I guess as for the 800 meters in Jamaica, we agree. We hope that it ushers in something new.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
I think Tyrese and Navaski said something that was very instrumental in the interview that we did, where he's talked about the miles that you need to put in. He says that in many ways you can put the miles in. You can run the road, you can do the cyclical machine, you can do treadmills. There are different ways in which you can get those miles in for your lungs, which is what the key thing is for the 800 as well. So maybe some of that insight can be passed on to some of the coaches here. and some of the kids who are thinking about it, can, and even some of the guys who are still doing it, I mean, who are either still in college or just about to leave college, can look at it and say, okay, now I can do that. Maybe I can, follow a similar pathway towards running faster. Even if Jamaica has 5 guys in the next 3 or 4 years running 143s down, I think that'll be a good look, and I think
Yeah.
it could inspire a lot of other kids coming through as well.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah. All right, we'll get back to. Thanks everybody for continuing the comments, and you were
Oh, let me
getting all
just
the
bring up
comments.
one
Then
point.
yeah,
Because
go
you're
ahead.
talking about moves. Sabrina Dockery has now gone
Ah,
to Lance Brahman as well. So that's something that's happening in the news as well. The fact is, though, one of the things I see people with this conversation about, she should have stayed home.
mm,
I don't know. Look, I think we've been spoiled based on what happened from 2004 up to current
right.
times, where you're seeing an Asaf and Shelley and Medellin and Bridget Foster Hilton and all of these guys have done well for Jamaica. But the reality is that not everybody can stay in Jamaica.
Right.
There, each of these clubs, MVP, Racers Track Club, Sprint Tech, Optimum, all of them have limited capacity, right? So there's only a certain amount of athletes that any one club can take. So sometimes you have to go abroad, and there's a guy that was saying, Jamaica's medalists only come from the ones that are coached at home, which is rubbish. Merlin
Oh,
not a coach, stayed abroad and worked at one. Every medal what she wins for Jamaica, she's coached abroad. Juliet Cuthbert, Sandy Richards, Gregory
Grace
Harton,
Jackson, right?
Grace Jackson, what's his name, Davian Clark,
Yeah.
Michael McDonald wasn't there for most of the time, but there's so many athletes who have trained abroad in the collegiate system, and I mean Omar McLeod,
Yeah.
there's so many. I mean, so this idea that you can't win medals consistently if you're training abroad is rubbish. I think we should disabuse ourselves of that notion, because not every athlete can stay here. And Lance Brahman is one of the best coaches in the world. Sean Miller
Absolutely.
Weaver, we've seen what he's done with Jerry Richards. We've seen what he's done with Noah Lyles.
From VCB
Why,
too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
BCB, yeah. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't she want to go there? I mean, seriously, sometimes we need to just step back and allow athletes to do what they want to do, and hope that they find success wherever they go. I mean, Brenna Liston is also there as well, so we're hoping that we see something from her in the next year or so.
No, yeah, yeah. I think, I part of the kind of role of you, and when we do these things, or us in general, when we talk to people about this, is to, you gotta explain, and maybe a lot of people, they have the Sunday conversations on this, but it takes more than just saying you should stay home or you should go here. This could be the best coach in the world, but they have no space for you, right? Or they don't have any way to add you to the list. So what you're gonna do? Sit there and and then become like second rate? You have to do what you think is best for you.
Yeah, because Kevin Davis is at Racers Track Club now, but the thing where I think it might work for her is that Racers has a small group of athletes, where Glenn and the other coaches who are doing a remarkable job there as well, who can give each an individual attention, and just hone. I mean, we had heard. I had heard that Kevin Davis was heavily overweight, and in the interview with them, he said that she needs to lose some weight. So what I was hearing was actually more factual than I actually believed, because she had gone up to Bullis to coach with Jolie, and then she left. He said he doesn't know where she went, but apparently she came back to Jamaica.
Right.
So, but the thing about it is that we need to be a little bit more understanding of why athletes choose to go where. Look, I've always said, because I hear this rubbish argument as well about college burning out athletes.
Yeah.
Listen, ask yourselves why those people are saying this. Ask yourselves why the U.S. athletes who are going from their high schools to colleges are not burnt out in college. And ask yourself why the Jamaican athletes are burnt out in college. They're burnt out from here. I think we said this before.
Right.
And I think we need to understand why it happens. Because, look, I'll be standing around the year when she ran 22:09 indoors before Jordan broke her 200-meter indoor record. She ran something like almost 40-something races that year.
Yeah.
And she still went to the World Championships Oregon and came with 2 gold medals. Yeah, she didn't run well in the individual events, but that's because she was just tired for that season because she was in her final season at college. So once they step away from college, that base that they have usually benefits them. And as I tell people all the time, not everybody who does well in high school or college goes on to be successful. That's not how
Right.
life works.
Yeah.
Some find success, some don't. In fact, most don't. So
Yeah.
it's one of the,
No, it's a very big transition, and a lot of people still forget that when you're in college, there's a lot of things that are structured for you, and when you decide to take this thing as a professional, you have to organize everything for yourself.
yeah.
With your management, your coach, you have to find the right physio, you have to do everything. So sometimes it takes a while before athletes get to the top again, or fulfill whatever potential we think they may or may not have. Yeah, lots of comments coming through. On yours, I see TDC coming on. Yeah, good to have you. Average Joe likes your Argentina kit. He likes my
Yeah, my throwback
Venezia
jersey.
kit.
Yeah.
I have a story for this, but we don't have time for that. I picked this up yeah, many years ago. Well, 2 years ago, I was in Venice, and I was one of the things I didn't realize. Venice at the time they were in the Serie A. I think they went down that year afterwards, but I was like in search of trying to find something for the stadium. Like you don't know. Venice never advertised that they have a football club. It's like, what's going on here? And it's like right there, which is an interesting thing. Trevor says, why didn't Megan consider Goling Clark? I don't know.
Who?
I don't, he's asking why Megan didn't consider. I guess Lassina. Why didn't go to Goling Clark? Yeah.
Lassina has her hands full. That's one of the
Mm.
reasons why Toby was in Jamaica last
Yeah.
year. She has her hands full at Auburn, bringing in new recruits, working with the program there. And I know she, based on my sources, that's one of the reasons why she talked to Glenn about coaching Toby for a part of the season, because she just didn't have the time to be able to give her the individual attention. So that's something that's also part of why she probably wouldn't work with Meg right now. I don't think
Right.
she'd have the time to, because when you're a pro, you need that individual attention. You need to work on all the different the details
Yeah.
of the mechanics of the hurdles and everything. So if you don't have the time to do that, you're actually shortchanging the athletes.
Yeah. No, you have to. It's not a half job or anything. I guess it's similar to when Atto was trying to do coaching and television at the same time.
Yeah.
Those things don't work
And
in
running the
the
NFL speed
yeah,
camps as well.
exactly. Yeah. People are gonna ask you where your focus is. Yeah. Multitasking at that level is just not a thing at high performance. TDC says it's important to also appreciate that athletes have passions outside track. Crystal Slowly, for example, is an architecture student, so balance is important. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, no questions about it.
Mm.
All right, there's some more other things we can talk about, but I want to get to the important thing, the Atlas meet. That happened and on New York, in New York rather, on Thursday, a little bit in Times Square. I like that part of the sport. Long jump
Yeah.
in Times Square. You're building a specific pit there. No matter what happened there, I thought that was a great advertisement for track and field. We've seen pole vaulting before in a mall. We've seen part of the Diamond League and part of Zurich there. I like that part of for access. It was a great spectacle. Friday was the thing in Icon Stadium on Randall's Island. Uh, Interesting kind of a meet. I want to get your take on it. From my perspective, I like it. It was a party meet. If you look at it, in the sense that when you look at how many events were on track, it was not a lot. So there's a lot of downtime, which you generally don't like to see when you're having a track and field meet. But the fans, I don't believe, felt that, because there's like DJs everywhere, food on VIPs from all over the place. What's your initial take of the Atlas meet there, Leighton?
Well, I had a couple of friends inside the stadium,
Mm,
and they said it was wild. And they had a lot of fun.
right.
Music everywhere. There's a vibe. There was a lot of vibe. It was like a partnership. And one of the things that I think is something that I think that Alexis Ohanian has come up on and it's something that I've spoken about for years as well. Like you can make track and field meets into an experience, not just
Mm,
because of the nature of the sport. like you mentioned, there's a lot of downtime. How you fill that time makes a difference. One of the weaknesses I think track and field has suffered from over the years is that you have a 400 event now, and for example, watch a race, and then you have another 5 minutes before the next race gets underway. What if you had ongoing organic atmosphere around you so that the lag time between events doesn't even seem like a lag time because then you have something inside in
Right.
between to fill that space. So it becomes more of an event. It becomes more of an experience that you can walk away from and say, boy, that was fun. So track and field is only part of the experience, but not just the focus of the experience. So I think he hit on something, and he said something that was interesting as well, where he talked about the fact that yeah, they got a loss in their first year, then a loss this
Mm.
year as well. But the loss this year wasn't as bad as the loss last year. They expect to
Right.
break even next year and then in profit by a year after next. So they clearly have a model that they're working with. And so far, it seems to be working because what I think is happening as well is bringing a lot of non-purist track and field fans to the event.
Mm.
Because you have, as I said before, you have what was her name, Ciara performing. You had
Yeah.
all kind of different celebrities all over the place.
Yeah, Queen
Meeting people,
Latifah,
yeah, signing
obviously
autographs.
the GOAT in tennis was there handing out crowns, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Serena
and
Williams, yeah.
these things, I think these things make part of the experience. So you come away from it feeling like okay, you you went to a major concert with a track meet in the middle of it,
Right.
and so you don't feel like you lost anything. You feel actually you came out with a better experience than just going to a traditional track meet where you're sitting there and you're waiting for the next event to start, and
Yeah.
then you kind of get bored and distracted. So
No, I
yeah, so
yeah,
there are things.
I like what they did in that sense because, and also moving the long jump to the other side because they were just
Yeah,
using one side. It made sense because the only other way to make a track meet very entertaining is to you have to have a mixture of field events going on, and the races have to come quick and fast. And again, I want to put this out there because I really don't. It doesn't matter to me in the sense that I will stop my car to watch somebody running down the street just because the track and field, and I know you would probably do the same because you'd be like trying to identify is this the next athlete we need to look out for. What we need for the sport to grow and to be relevant and to deliver on the finances that the athletes that we believe deserve is for the 4 year fans who only watch around the Olympics to really get involved. And if it takes a party, if it takes celebrities to run through, and if it takes to even change up the way we think about, you know, what kind of competitions we may have, I'm all for it. As long as it works, as long as the athletes like it. And as you say, it was a spectacle, it's a fashion show, basically. They're coming in. It's a whole different thing. And now he's trying to push a Formula One team
yeah,
model. That's going to be interesting whether or not you can get all the teams together. But I think that is some level of progress that looks really good.
yeah. Because I've always said, that one of the things I think track and field could do is that, especially in a non-championship year,
Mm,
you have club leagues. So you have different franchises, and they don't all have to be in the same place. They can be in Europe, they can be in the United States, in the Caribbean. And what they do is that the franchises then select their athletes. So you have a draft, and you pick the 100-meter draft, and you say, okay, I want Brian Level, and I want Oblique Seville, and I want Noah Lyles, and they're on one team. And you break it down. So you have four clubs. You have two competitors from each club, and they run individual races. And then you can have a relay to wrap up the thing because they're the
right.
best of the best, and you have that kind of dynamic where. So what you do is you get to see the best athletes compete against each other all the time. Maybe on a weekly basis, maybe bi-weekly. I mean, it's we have to think about change without changing the sport too much, because
Right.
then you turn off the purists. So I think what you'll get good races, and you get intense competition and rivalries, but you still get the basic events. Huh?
Yeah.
And it can happen. You can do it in two ways. You can probably like a 2 day meet like you have with Atlas now, where you have field events on one day. So you have the shot put, discus, long triple jump, javelin and stuff, and that's enough within a 2 hour window where you can compete and people are going on and you have set up cameras there and sort it out
Right.
and said everybody gets their individual attention. And the next day you have the on-track events. So it can be a 2 day spectacle where from a club perspective, and you have sponsors, and sponsors get their pound of flesh, of course, with branding and all kind of different things,
Right.
and make it into make a club league. So I don't know what Alexis has planned,
Yeah.
but I've always thought that that club structure could work for. I mean, even in Jamaica, there was a club. There was a time when they had a
Right.
club championship in Jamaica, and it used to be a lot of fun. Okay, racers versus cast club and all the
Mm.
other clubs that were around the place, and it was fun. But I don't know. It just needs to be tight and have a tighter structure, and because one of the things I think that lets track and field down sometimes is meets drag on forever,
Mm.
and people don't have time for that these days. Not like
Yeah.
1960s and 70s where life was a little bit less. The pace of life was a lot less frantic. No, people are hustling from 5 o'clock every
Right.
morning and 5 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. So you have to find a way to fit these events into a space where people have time to
Right.
engage and enjoy the event. So I think it's something that's you know
No, it is. And you mentioned sponsors; they definitely have it. What were your thoughts on the instant payment? Cash App was part of their main money
love
transfer.
that.
Instant payment. It struck me a little bit. Well, obviously, it was clever, but was it a little bit of a shot across the bow against Grand Slam in a sense?
It could be, and you
Yeah.
could perceive it that way. But I think the athletes are happy with it. I saw was it Masai who hold up
Yeah.
her phone and
Yeah, and
the
Tara
money
Davis too. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tara Davis too. So
Mm-hmm.
because look, to be fair, track and field athletes are hard done for the lack of funds that
Yeah.
are in the sport, and for them to get paid 60K up front, you know,
Yeah.
within minutes of you finish competing, it has to be a good feeling, and it makes you want to come back for more. So I
Yeah.
think, and that's one of the reasons why I think Athos is probably gonna be succeed where Grand Slam didn't, because
Right.
the athletes know that you win and your money account within minutes, and
Right.
you say, "Yo, I can go buy my nice Gucci bag or
Or
what
more,
might be
or we should say you should invest it, but whatever you want to
yeah,
do with
yeah,
your
well,
money is
yeah,
up
well,
to you.
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
what I find with people is that when you put large sums of money in your immediate space, the first thing them
Yeah.
think about is to buy something. They're not
Right.
thinking about investing anything at all.
Or the
But
taxes
it's a,
that they have to pay.
to pay, yeah, and especially in New York. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
I like the idea that they're able to get their cash because it's reassuring, huh?
Yeah.
Is I remember talking to Jeremy last week and asked him if he got his money from Grand Slam, and we say, yeah, they're paying. So
Yeah. He said they're
it's a
coming in.
it's a
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a relief for because look when you get a chance to earn Jerry won over $200,000, right?
Yeah. I'm
And
still
you're
not
not
sure if he's gonna get all of that though. But anyway.
yeah, but at least he got some of it,
Yeah.
so that's better than nothing. And I think as Alexis said, if Michael wants to help him, wants some help him, I mean, he's open to helping him. He'll always pick up
Yeah.
the phone and call him. So
Yeah.
let's see, because track and field needs look for the purists like me and you.
Mm.
I don't think not a lot much needs to change. I
Yeah.
mean, I just say I will stop on what somebody raised across
Yeah.
of open field. But for new fans, for the youngsters coming up who don't know about the sport
Yeah.
and who live in the United States like you, where
Yeah.
I don't think people see the sport as often as they should. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I remember growing up in ABC, Wild World of Sports. That's where I
Mm.
saw Carl Lewis run. That's where I saw
Yeah.
Leroy Burrell. That's where I saw Steve Williams. I saw Don
Right.
Corey back in the day. That's what made me really fall in love with the sport. But if you're not seeing it, you can't fall in love with something, and networks are not carrying the sport.
Right.
So, that's why in America, for example, people think that track and field is a 4 year sport. It's not. It's
Right.
far from being a 4 year sport. But if you go to Europe, it's a different dynamic altogether
Totally.
because
Yeah.
people are singing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have friends living in the UK and in Czechoslovakia, not Czechoslovakia, Czech
Czech
Republic.
Republic. Yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of
Or
places. And
Czechia,
everybody,
no, actually Czechia, not even
yeah,
Czech
Czechia.
Republic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, let me keep changing that name of the place off.
Yeah.
And I get messages on my WhatsApp all the time. And they're asking about Jamaican athletes who they saw perform in
Right.
Europe. Which means that they're seeing it, they're engaged, and so it's always at the forefront of their mind. So,
Yeah.
but if you're in the US, if you're not seeing it, of course you're going to lose interest in it.
No, it is, and I will say I think the sport is big enough to accommodate various styles. So I have no problem with the Diamond League or the Continental Tour continuing the way it is, and yet we can still have other meets coming up and changing the dynamic here. Richard was saying that Alex is asking you if Alex agreed to pay. No, he didn't. It was just like I think that was on a podcast, right? Someone asked him about the payment, the assistance to Grand Slam. And Michael would have to call him. I'm not sure if he'll get that kind of help. There's a lot of money there, but that's a different story. Let me stick with that a little bit and touch on something else that I guess you and I weren't particularly happy about. But one, we saw Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce there. She was lauded for her efforts, for all the superlatives. She got one of those Tiffany crowns. But importantly, she also got an appearance on daytime television in the United States on the CBS morning show, which I thought was a really good look, and I was really excited to see it until halfway through it. It wasn't the kind of direct push towards the sport in general, and it veered off into important issues, obviously, but not for that time segment. Your thoughts on Shelley getting there and what that means, for them to really recognize Shelley and as she duly deserves, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me touch on the CBS thing, because I posted something on socials and it's been blowing up. People are responding and saying it's because Shelley's Jamaican. All kind of different reasons. I don't think it has anything to do with nationality. I've been a journalist for 35 years now. And I think I've been prepared by some of the best to do it. Carl Wint, Lloyd Williams, Case J.C. Prout. These guys are bastions of what used to be Jamaican journalism, and their skill sets applied globally as well. When I was in school in Cardiff, John Ryan, funny enough, one of the lecturers who he and I have a really good relationship. These guys talk about the basic tenets of journalism. I just don't think that happens in the United States as much anymore. It's like more like sound bites, and it's ridiculous. You have 5 minutes for an interview, okay? 5 minutes. Might not sound like a lot of time, but it's a lot of time. So I started out really well. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is in New York. She gets in a comment. You switch to Alexis Ohanian. He tells you about that. He calls her an icon. And then they switch to the fact that he's the son of an immigrant and that he's found his success. That's not the place for it. You're talking about the Atlas meet. And even if and people are saying that, they got the visibility. I understand all of that. But here's an opportunity for you to teach your viewing public about something outside of the insularity of what American media is. You have an athlete who many people consider to be the greatest of all time, sitting 5 feet in front of you. You have a U.S. millionaire who's brought her in to honor her, and you don't ask why. Them call her the GOAT. But for those watching, because I'm sure that a lot of people who are watching probably never heard about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Right.
For those watching, who is this girl from Jamaica? So them could have said, Shelly, after they had the initial comment from her. So Shelly, what's probably been the most compelling thing about your career now that you've retired? Something that would allow her to use 30 seconds or 40 seconds to tell something more about herself, to let people know that, hey, it's not just Melissa Jefferson. Melissa Jefferson won triple gold in Tokyo, but she's not the first to do it.
Right.
Shelly did
Second.
it in
Yeah.
2013. So they could have used the final 2 minutes of that segment to get some information out to their public that would inform them. Because one of the things that I tell you, Carwin, I miss that man so much. Carwin says to me one day, I remember I was covering a crime story and I was struggling with it. And he says to me, remember the most important thing as a journalist is that you are documenting history on a daily basis. So whatever you record, whatever you write, has to be as accurate as possible. And it should be good enough to inform anybody who's reading your stuff 50 years from now, 100 years
Mm.
from now. CBS has this massive platform and an athlete who the world recognizes as one of the best ever do it, sitting 5 feet in front of you, and you're asking Onhayan about whether or not his mom was an immigrant. I mean,
Right.
to me, that was a major insult to me. And it has nothing to do with whether or not Shelly's a Jamaican or not.
Right.
I think it's just a deterioration of what we see in American media, especially broadcast media for the last 20 years or more, where it's about rubbish. It's about jumping on issues that have no place in that particular space. I mean, Fox does this with its complete ignorance of, I mean, blinding people who are already ignorant. MSNBC, CNN, all of them are trying to find these little niches and giving people information that they think people should know about. Your job as a journalist is to inform people. And there's this girl sitting here flying all the way from Jamaica to be honored
Yeah.
in New York City, and you don't take an opportunity to talk about it. Rubbish.
It
So
is. And I think this comment, because I saw comments coming here that made me kind of smile a little bit because they're in agreement. Black African 58 says, I felt embarrassed for the GOAT at that moment and I cringe at how they dropped the ball. And Richard is saying over here that CBS dropped the ball. So everyone is in agreement here. No, I think they missed the opportunity. And I think the guy was also a bit embarrassed that they were like turning the attention. You could see him trying to push it back because it wasn't
yeah, because
about him at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, he pulled it over and said, this icon sitting next to me.
Yeah.
He gave them the window to go back to her. And
Yeah.
she had to force herself, she had to force a cut in before they were cutting away to end the segment. Because she
Right.
didn't even finish her statement, right?
Yeah. No, she
Because
didn't.
they
Yeah.
were so eager to wrap it up. Look, man, it's poor, and I don't care. I don't think it has nothing to do with the fact that she's Jamaican. I think it just has it's poor journalistic practice, and I think,
Yeah.
well, then again,
They should have done better. No
not so
question about it. I think they should have done better because, the whole Serena part of it too is not important in that moment, right? We know he's
yeah.
married to Serena, she's not there at the moment, so yeah, interesting. But, overall, I thought some of the performances were good there. Since we didn't touch on performances, have to say I was really shocked by Brittany Brown to win the double,
Brother.
win the 100 meter, and then to run that type of time in that type of weather, because by that time I think it was like 56 degrees or so Fahrenheit.
2189.
Yeah, and
That would have won her a
2189.
silver in Tokyo.
Yeah,
That would have won her a silver in
personal
Tokyo.
best too. Yeah. So
And a big personal best because she's coming from what 22-0 something or 22-1.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So massive run, to outclass Anavia Battle as well. So I was really shocked that she was able to do it. I don't know if the 100-meter warmed her up because it was very, very cold out there, and to run even sub 11 in that kind of conditions.
10:99.
Keely Hutchinson too,
Yeah, boy.
156.53 in the 800 meters. That struck me as crazy running in that kind of weather too. So yeah. And then even Fate ran well.
Yeah,
so I
it was
thought they had
crazy. I
some
mean,
good people
I think-
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was some good performances. I thought overall,
Yeah.
I thought it was a good meet in terms of the performance. Look, one of the things that I worry about with Astros is that at the time of the season that it is, athletes are past their peak. They're tired.
Yeah.
They've had a long season competing, just coming with the World Championships. So for this year, I was kind of worried I was going to see the same thing. But the performances were, because even in the 100, Vicious was second.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And even you think about the long jump to Davis Woodall
Okay.
jumping
Am I back?
713.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus was there 11:01, and
Yeah.
for
Oh, you
some,
meant Sears, you meant. Okay. Right. Yeah. I think I may have lost it for a little bit. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought the performances were always also really, really good.
Yeah.
Given the time of year and given the conditions.
No, it is. And I don't know if they made enough of the long jump too, because to jump 713 at that type of the year, time of the year for for Davis Woodall too was an amazing jump for me as well. So I don't know. It is interesting. Trevor is saying Brittany said after this that she started to train late after surgery, so the peak, so she peaked even later.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. Yeah. And the thing about it, I don't think they didn't really spend time thinking through the performances, and I don't think
Okay.
that kind of meet
Having
was
having
designed for
some
that.
problems.
Yeah. Okay. I think we might be losing Leighton for a little bit here. I'm seeing him there. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get Leighton back in a second. Let me get some comments here. I think Trevor is saying no lies. If we miss some of your comments, we apologize. I think Colin earlier had
All
said
right.
something about
I'm
Femke.
having some issues here.
Yeah.
The issues that I had last night with my internet speed is dropping rapidly. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. I'm still seeing you, but I guess you're not
Dwayne, are you
seeing me.
back?
Yeah, I am here. Yeah. Well, we may have to wrap it up then. If you I'm here. You can hear me.
Whoa.
Yeah. 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 I think Leighton is having some issues there, guys. We may have to call it a night. Since he may have some technical issues. His internet was acting up, I guess, in Jamaica the last couple of days, but I think he's back again here. Let's see if we can get him on. Once he, yeah, can you hear? I
Yeah,
can see
I'm
you
back now.
clearly.
But
Yeah, yeah,
got
yeah,
having some speech. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, you had
yeah.
some
I was able
connectivity
to see
issues.
you
I don't know.
clearly, though. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, yeah, I was saying, yeah. I mean, Brittany Brown with the surgery. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
Mhm,
she probably not probably she definitely peaked because the
mhm.
surgery did interrupt part of her season, so she was able to come back and run really, really well. So I pity she couldn't do that in Tokyo in time
Right.
because then clearly silver medal would have been hers. Took that
Yeah.
time a pretty good time, 21:89.
No, it is. Yeah. No, but overall, I thought some good stuff. Maybe when they set up the team thing next year, they may have it in a part of the season where athletes can perform well. But as I was saying, I don't think they branded the meet in a way to highlight the kind of performances. This was more like you saw athletic achievement, and I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe some people in the stands, not everybody, but some people may not necessarily understand the difference between a 1089 in late October or 2189 in late October
yeah,
versus a couple weeks ago in Tokyo.
yeah.
That requires a little bit more nuance, but that's okay. There's a one question here we could touch on before we could do a couple more, and we get out of here. MJK says, with Noah and Janelle getting married, will Noah lose his drive and hunger? Also, will he really race next year? That's a tough question. I don't even if know if I want to ask you that, Lynn. I have no idea what to say about that. Yeah, yeah,
No, look, I think Noah Noah is look, Noah and Janelle love each other and they
right,
support each other. And I think him getting married to her probably only fuels him even more. I mean,
right,
he talks about how she supports him. He talks about how she's always behind him, backing him. And you saw that in Tokyo as well when he ran the 200. I think it probably only helped him. I
yeah,
think given that no, he doesn't have to worry about the uncertainty about whether or not that relationship is going to last. He can't take that off
yeah,
her mind. They're married now, and she's look. I know her personally. I've spoken to her a number of times before she went abroad. Even
right,
before, well, when she was at Steps, actually, very smart young woman, very beautiful young woman, has her head screwed on tight to her shoulders, and I think them getting married will only help. I mean, they're still 6 months away, actually.
yeah,
But so they're getting married in the middle of next season.
yeah. I,
So
It only
I think
makes
it's.
things
I
better.
think. I don't.
I advocate
Yeah.
for it, so he's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think he'll be fine. And I think
yeah,
Noah's going to want to run next year and run well next year because he wants to set himself up to go to LA, his hometown, which will probably be his final Olympic Games,
yeah,
to probably try to double. It, to me, it wouldn't be a good idea because I think
yeah,
all things being equal, everybody being healthy for the next 2 years, I think Noah Lyles is probably the fifth or sixth fastest man in the world by then because I think Brian Level is going to be scary good in the next 2 years if he doesn't get hurt. I think Oblique Seville is going to be even better than we saw this year. And by then, Kishian Thompson probably will be the best of them all. You never can tell.
mm,
And of course, there are a lot of youngsters coming through who are going to be running fast, who will be ready now to compete at the global level. So, maybe Noah goes for his the only thing that's really missing
trophy.
from
Yes,
his
yeah,
trophy case now is the 200-meter gold medal at the Olympic Games.
yeah,
So he's going to want to go there, but will he win it? I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
Kenny could be a factor. Tebogo is still very young. We saw
yeah,
Brian Neville in Tokyo. It's going to be harder, I believe, for him to win that 200-meter gold in LA, regardless of whether or not he's competing at home or not. Because I think the
yeah.
world is catching up, and in many instances have caught up with him as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I don't even need to echo. I think it's going to be hard to win the 200, and it's going to be even harder if he doubles. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Let's get one last one as well. We saw, yesterday or this morning, the Olympic champion over 100 meters for women at a charity event, her spikes going for 75,000. Can we confirm that you have the spikes coming at your house? Did you buy the Julian
I
Alpha?
don't have $75,000. No, I'm going to try and find out who paid $75,000 for that pair of spikes. It's a lot of money
Right.
that goes towards her foundation. As you know,
Yeah.
she's very gung ho on what that foundation wants to do in St. Lucia, and she's been down there for about a week now. And her
Mm,
schedule has been hectic because I'm actually waiting to hear whether or not she's going to make herself available to talk to me. But
right.
she's been busy and doing a lot of good work. I mean, she's an ambassador for, it's a shipping company. I'm trying to remember. And
Mm.
she's an ambassador for, of course, the
St.
country's
Lucia
tourism ambassador.
Tourism, right? Hmm.
Yeah, and she has a lot of responsibility on her, and of course she loves being home. And so I thought that cocktail event last night was significant in terms of the support that came out for support of that foundation. And by $75,000 for pair specs, I'd like to find out who spent that money. It's funny
Right.
who responded to my tweet this morning. Alexis Ohanian said
Oh,
he
did he?
responded to my tweet today to say, I wish he was down there, could have been on it
Right.
as
No,
well. So
I will say about that 75. It seems like a lot of money, but whoever purchased that, they're purchasing first, right? This is the first
yeah.
woman from a country that small to win the Olympic title. I
Mhm.
you know, I'm hope that we're around for the next 30, 40 years or so to see, what the value of that spot. I hope that person at some point decides to donate it to the, yeah. Oh, you got this, the Alexis Sahani tweet there. Yeah. I'm sure he would have probably outbid for it too. So
Yeah, probably. Most like, I mean, those are going to be valuable specs, as you mentioned,
yeah,
for that very reason.
yeah,
The first from St. Lucia, I think she's probably the first gold medalist from an island that small.
yeah,
And we know, I mean, notwithstanding what happened this year, I think she's going to be a great ambassador for the country going forward, in terms of what she's going to accomplish in the years to come.
yeah,
Because had it not been for that injury, we don't know what would have happened otherwise in Tokyo.
right.
So and I know she's going to want to find some level of redemption as well. So I know she's going to come back with a bigger chip on her shoulder next year, I see
Yeah.
as well. So
No, very tough cookie. Anyway, Leighton, I'm gonna call it for tonight because it's been good, but we'll try to do this again. Don't forget to get onto Leighton's
come on.
channel. He has a bunch of new interviews. They're very insightful. I've watched all of them. I think you should watch them too. You get to see a side of athletes that we don't often see. Thanks for supporting his channel, and thanks for supporting my channel as well. I have a few interviews up on mine as well, so take some time to check it out. And Leighton and I will come back when we get
By the
time.
way, I loved your
Yeah.
interview. I love
with
your
Tim.
interview with the guy from Athletics Weekend.
Yeah,
That
Tim
was really
Adams.
good
Yeah,
as well. I enjoyed that
yeah.
interview. That was really good. That's
Last
some
night
really
I had
good
an
insight.
interview
So
with
yeah, man. So
a young
join the
Barbadian.
chat and
Go ahead.
subscribe to the channel, guys. And catch up on some of those interviews, and have some interesting ones coming up. I'm not going to tip my hand just yet because I'm very suspicious about those things. I need to see it happen. I need to see them in front of my screen first to know it's going to happen. But in the next few days, I have a couple of interesting interviews coming up, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy some of those as well.
Yeah, Maitland says the Navaski interview was great. Yeah, so you're getting some kudos there on your channel there. All right,
Man,
so it's good chatting, Leighton, as usual. Thanks everyone for chiming in on a Sunday night. And whenever you're watching the rebroadcast, put your comments in. I will be sure to get to them. See you guys next time. Bye bye.
Peace out.